Hi, everybody. I'm back. So I just want to start off by just saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you for clicking on my video, subscribing, liking, comments. You guys have no idea how much it truly means to me. Like from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I know that there are a ton of different people out on the internet, screaming for attention in a lot of different ways. And thank you for finding me. I don't know how you did, but I'm so happy that you're here. So hi, everybody. I am Brittany. If you are a first-time viewer, welcome. I am from St. Louis. I'm married. I have two young children, Teddy and Redford. Today is kind of an unusual day because last night they called off school. So it's a snow day in St. Louis and we have like no snow, like maybe an inch of snow. I can like literally look out my window and see grass on the lawn. So I appreciate it. I mean, I love being at home with Teddy and hanging out. He is downstairs right now eating some lunch with my husband, who's also working from home today. So I thought I'd pop up here, and it's a new location. I don't know how well the lighting is going to be, but we're going to make do and let you guys in on what I've been up to. So we're going to start off with all of the knitting things. I was watching a podcast recently and the person was saying like, I hate when people are super chatty at the beginning. And I was like, I love chatty. Chatty is fun to me. But I will save that until the end in case chat is not your preference. And I'm going to let you know what I've accomplished. So it is still January of 2023. And in my first podcast, I talked a little bit about hats. This is the beginning of my year adventure, was just hat knitting. So I have some things, some finished objects, if you will, to show off. So this is my first one. This is the classic ribbed hat from Pearl Soho. And it was a super quick knit. I mean, this is for my now 10-month-old. So it's not like a huge hat. I can't put it on my head. It won't fit to show you off or show it off. But like super cute, just little basic hat. I think this would be like a wonderful gift knit for people. Now, full disclosure, I don't block hats. So if you're looking at this and you're like, wow, that looks like a little uneven, or her decreases are looking kind of weird, I don't block the hats. I did one time. I was watching a podcast and the person, and I don't even remember who it was now, but they were saying like, oh, blocking is so wonderful. Like I block everything after I knit it, like even hats, scarves, hat, shawls, everything. I block it all. And I was like, okay, I've never really felt the need to block a hat, but I will because they had like this balloon trick. So like you submerge your knit in water, do a little wool wash, you take it out, squeeze out as much water without like ruffling the stitches at all. And then you blow up a balloon and you put your hat on it so it like stays in a nice like head shape. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. I'm going to try it out. So I bought some balloons to do that and I like set it out. And I don't know what yarn I was using, but I'm assuming that it wasn't a 100% wool yarn because that thing on the balloon just like grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And not only was it like from a nice like fitted hat to like slouchy hat, which I also love and appreciate, but it got weird on the edges, like the ribbing kind of like stretched out. So then it just became like too big for anybody's head. So with that being said, trust podcasters for sure. you know, try things out, be adventurous, but like when it goes wrong, I mean, it might go wrong. So, yeah. Redford has worn this a couple of times to daycare. I mean, he's 10 months old, so it doesn't really get like a whole lot of wear out of it, but a nice little thing to keep his head warm during the winter. And this is made out of, I'm like looking down here, sorry, I wrote down, I don't have a good memory for yarn and types, but it's made out of Blue Sky Fibers baby alpaca sport weight in just the colorway red, and it's the size 3, so I didn't knit the baby version, I knit the kid size, just because I thought, like, if it's a little big for a baby, that's fine, he can grow into it. And then my second finished object, I showed you guys the yarn for this last time. It is so pretty. That's pretty true to color. There's like a little bit of a yellow light situation happening here, but it's great. It's marled. This, you may be like, what is this thing? It is the Musselburgh hat. So I absolutely love this hat. I've knit 2 or 3 now, and it's such a great like cold weather hat. This is not a free pattern. The classic ribbed hat by Pearl Soho is. So if you're like new to knitting, you want to try out hats, you want to try out some gift knits, I mean, you really can't go wrong with hat knitting. I love it. Musselburgh was one that I waited to buy for a while. I mean, it's not like an expensive pattern. It's under $10, I'm sure, US. And I was like, I don't really need a hat pattern. Like, why? I can like figure this out on my own. And that's probably true in some cases, but I'm so glad that I bought this pattern. You can literally use like any weight of yarn, and it has a little chart that'll help you pick out what like sizes, how many to cast on, how many increases to do from the chart, and then you just knit to your little heart's content, and it tells you exactly like how long to knit. It's wonderful. And then you fold it in on itself, and it becomes this nice like double thick fabric, and then you can even roll up the edges, and then you have like what is that, a four layered fabric, a tetris fabric, tetra, yeah. So it's super cute. You cast on one side, and then you do your increases, and you keep knitting this big long tube, and then you start decreasing, and then you bind off and like close the little hole. And I love it. I can't actually tell like which side is which. So is this the cast on? I don't know. Is this the cast on? I don't know. It's like fully reversible. So I love this pattern. I have big plans. I mean, like how cute would this be doing like a two-tone where you knit like half of it in one color and the other half in the other, and then you can fold it, and then it becomes like fully reversible. Could do a little pop of color with the brim. I mean, so cute. So I think when the holidays roll around, this might be my like go-to gift knitting pattern. Now I will say this is going to be like way more warm weather friendly than this one is. So depending on where you live, I mean, choose your own adventure. This might be too much, but I guess you could like knit it out of linen if you wanted like a cool slouchy, you know, skateboarder hat in California or something. Cool. I love it. I didn't say anything about this yarn. Sorry, guys. So this is my Musselburgh. I said that. That's the pattern name, and I'll link that below if you're interested. And then this is the toddler size as well, so not a super huge hat. That's why I didn't put it on my own head. I don't think it would quite fit. This is Plymouth yarn in the color Blues Cruise. And I just love that it's that marled pretty blue and white color. All right, so 2 finished objects. I was like, oh, I'm doing so good. Like, it hasn't even been that long. And I know they're little projects. I see people like whip out sweaters in a week. And I'm like, how did you do that? But I was pretty proud of that. I forgot to tell you what I'm wearing. Okay, sorry guys. I have my t-shirt on underneath this, but let's see if you can see the yoke. If it'll zoom in there. So this is a ranunculus. It's a super popular pattern on Ravelry. Like, everybody has knitted this thing at some point. I feel like I am way behind on the sweater knitting game. I've knitted a few sweaters here or there, and then last year I was like, I'm gonna knit some sweaters because the inspiration struck. So cool. So this is the ranunculus, and that's by Midori Heroes. I'll link it too. And I knitted this last year. It was really, really quick for me. Like, knitted in under a month. I'm not a super speedy knitter, but it was my second sweater in like years that I knit. So I was pretty impressed with that. I hacked the pattern a little bit. So they have it written for different weights of yarn. And I go on Ravelry and I look at yarn ideas for inspiration. And I see like, what did everybody else use for this? And there was nobody that used the yarn that I wanted to use. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm crazy. Like, maybe there's a reason why nobody's using this beautiful yarn. And what is this beautiful yarn, you may be asking? Oh, there's like a little pulled stitch there. I'm gonna have to fix that. This beautiful yarn is, I told you I'm so bad at yarn names, is the fiber company Road to China Light. And I'm telling you, this thing, oh, so soft. So what is Road to China Light made out of? It is made out of alpaca, silk, goat, and camel. So I think I said this in the beginning of episode 1. I don't like itchy. Itchy is not, I don't like it. So Road to China Light, I mean, oh, it's so nice. You saw me, I pulled it like over my face. It's wonderful. And this is the colorway Emerald. And it's just beautiful. I even love the little like cuff detail. Look at that little bind off. It's so pretty. I don't think I've ever done a bind off quite like this. And I've gotten some use out of it. I wore it to work a couple of weeks ago. It did pill a little bit. I think you saw that in here. Maybe there's just like a little bit. I don't mind a little bit of pilling, particularly when you're getting a fabric that's just so soft and drapey and just feels so good to wear. So, yeah, ranunculus. Sorry, I probably should have started with that. I feel like people always say, like, this is what I'm wearing at the beginning, and I didn't. I was just so excited about finished objects, y'all. Okay, and then the other thing that I was working on last time was the beloved half and half triangles wrap. And I have to say that I might have done like a full flip on how I feel about that pattern. It's hard to say. So I was definitely influenced by other people to knit this pattern. This is not a pattern that I saw and was like, oh, like it's so cool. I have to have that. I have all of these ideas for where I'm gonna like wear this and what I'm gonna do with it. It was not one of those for me. It was totally because so many people were knitting them and I was like, I want to jump on that bandwagon because honestly, they had so many good things to say about it that I was like, okay. So I told you I bought yarn for one of them. I cast it on. It was a pink one and I really haven't worn And then I was like, well, I probably shouldn't be showing them stuff that's knitted and then like, or talking about it and not showing it to you. So I have it here. This is my first half and half triangles wrap, and this is a pattern by Pearl Soho. So this darker pink color is called Lychee Pink. It's beautiful. Definitely love this yarn. It is not super soft to me. It is not like camel alpaca soft, but it is very nice, super drapey. This does not bother me as like a sensitive wool person. This is fantastic. So that is Lychee Pink. And then the other color I used is this like pink, light pink. It's called Peony Pink. And this is the Pearl Soho. I should probably show you this way so you can see the colors together. Half and half triangles wrap. It's so pretty and girly. I am in a house of all boys. Like even my dogs are boys. So occasionally I like to go like very feminine with things. And this is just one of them. So I told you I like to use my knits. Like I like the whole process of knitting. I like having the object at the end, and I really want to use that object. And I haven't used this. I did have one day when I had my son use this as a blanket. And I was like, I like need to put it on. I need to wear it around. Like this is pretty. Like I can do this. And it can be like a little half this way, a little half this way, little tucks coming out. And then I realized, and I'm sure you just saw that, part of the reason why I haven't worn it or used it maybe out of the house is I knitted, I wove in my ends, I blocked it, and then I just I never snipped them, which would literally take me like 2 seconds to do. I need to just do that. Why am I not doing that? And then I think I'm going to be brave, particularly because it snowed here. And I'm going to wear it. It's going to be my big blanket at work. It's going to be great. And maybe I can get rid of like my coat that I just keep in my desk drawer for when it's super cold, because I have no control over the temperature where my desk is. So half and half triangles wrap. This, once again, I didn't knit during, this interval, so don't be like, oh my gosh, she's knitted so much. I did knit a lot, but this is old. This is old. I have 2 hats. Okay. So I'm a little bit of a liar. I was talking about that half and half triangles wrap last time, and it's my blue and white one. Also made out of the same yarn, the Pearl Soho linen quill. And I was knitting, and I was knitting, and I said, oh guys, this is gonna be like my back burner slow project. I'm gonna really just enjoy this process. This blue is coming off way more electric than it really was, or is in real life. This is real life, but on camera, it's like, this is very blue. It's not quite that blue. It's like electric on there. So I'm a little bit of a liar, because I was saying like, oh, I'm just gonna have this as my background project. I'm not really gonna focus on it. It's not gonna be something that I'm gonna like be speedy to try to finish. There are other things that I just want to knit. And I was like, yeah, I'm saying things, I'm doing stuff. So I was knitting, and I was knitting, and I was like right about here maybe last time. Like there's my corner. And this is a cool pattern. You cast on all of the stitches at this like middle line, and then you just work back and forth with some short rows, and like you build up the triangle. So I had the blue triangle all done. And I had just started this white triangle, and I have a little pink stitch marker on the top, of course the other side that you can't see. And I was at that pink stitch marker right here. You see it? So I had like a nice little wedge done. And I was like, okay, you know, I don't really have the brain capacity to like really be doing anything else right now. I'm just gonna work on that. I have some socks that I could be working on, but they're at the point where I need to do the heels for, it's literally 3 socks. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I was taking my son to soccer, and I was like, I just want knitting. Like, that's all I want. I don't want to have to think about anything. So I started from here, guys. And I went, and I went, and I went. So how much more do I have? Well, let's see. So I have to finish the triangle so that they match all the way to the end. And I'm not giving anything away. This is a free pattern. So I have exactly 6 more rows to do in casting binding it off. Guys, look how much knitting that is. That's insane. What was I talking about? What was I talking about? I did so much of it. So what do I mean? What was I talking about? Well, last time I was like, you know, it's a long-term project. It's a slow project. It's going to take you a really long time to do. I haven't really been using the first one that I knit. I don't know how I feel about the second one. Other than I had like grand ambitions. I don't even know if I told you that last time, but I had this vision of being the mom that had this like beautiful wrap that she could like be out on, you know, window shopping in this quaint little town with like cobblestone, you know, streets. And I was, you know, buying popcorn and fudge and, you know, looking at all of the things with my beautiful family in this small town by water. So there's like a sailboat, and I'm, you know, I'm going around, and I decide impromptu, like beautiful summer moment, I'm going to like buy things for a picnic, and I'm going to take off my shawl, and it'll become like this picnic blanket, and it'll be beautiful and wonderful, and we'll do blue and white. It'll be like kind of nautical for the coast. What am I talking about? I don't know. The vision overwhelmed me, and I was like, I want to be that person. So I did it, and it's almost done. So next time I podcast, this will be fully done, I'm sure. And I will say the bug has hit a little bit. I told you I don't really want to buy any more yarn. I want to knit out of my stash. That project is so delightful. It really is. So I'm like, maybe I should do like a purple and a yellow one. Maybe it would be nice to have like a rusty, like orange with like a sage green. I'm not going to do it anytime soon because I know that that's going to be like weeks of knitting, and I love it. But there's like a little voice in my head that says like, you cast that on, get it done. Get it done as soon as you can. And I'm not good at having a background project, apparently, unless it sucks. Like, I need to get it off my needles, and I don't know why. I don't know where that's coming from. It's not like I'm going to go to this, like, small coastal town anytime soon. Like, there isn't a deadline, but it's done. So I'm happy about it. It's really not done, but it's super close to being done. Okay, so plans. What am I going to work on next? Because like I'm most of the things are off my needles. I need to do some sock heels. And then a lot of my stash right now is sock yarn and fingering weight yarn with some nylon content into it. So I think as far as goals for where to go next, I want to knit the yarn that is like definitely needs to be socks. Like I want to knit that yarn into socks. And I don't want to cast on more than one pair of socks at a time. Like that has not been good for me. I just need to like have the pair of socks done. And I'll talk a little bit more about like sock knitting next time because this is already getting kind of long. And then I have a long-standing work in progress. It is my pressed flowers shawl. And I messed it up and I got irritated. I got irritated because I haven't heard like a single person say that they find that pattern difficult or that it like requires brain space. But to me, I mean, it's not difficult, but like it isn't as potato chippy as the half and half. So I really want to do that. I want to get it done. I would love to have the finished object. I'm using Farmer's Daughter's fibers for the first time ever. And the yarn is beautiful and squishy and bouncy. And I just need to do it. I just need to do that one. So that's kind of on my agenda for finishing out January and into February. Pressed flower shawl and some socks. So stay tuned for those. And if you're done, well, I'm done with knitting. I'm not really done chatting. I do love to chat. So I'm going to like go into how things have been with me, some personal stuff. Because after I finished the last podcast, I really realized that part of this is like an archivalist kind of mentality where like I like documenting what I'm doing. I was always super jealous of people that could like have a journal or a diary. I just like couldn't keep that up. But I was like, this podcast could be that a little bit for me. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a little bit of stuff. Just personal chats. That was my phone. So it is January of 2023. And I am a resolution person. I love making resolutions. I have a note in my phone that dates back to 2014, I think, or 2012. 2012 or 2014 of all of my New Year's resolution goals. And I don't make a lot. And I know that there are naysayers that hate resolutions. And that's fine. Like, what works for me might not work for you. And we're okay with that. But I do love a good New Year's resolution. And I wasn't as intentional about them as I normally am. I view the beginning of a year as a time of reflection and a little bit of introspection and just thinking about, like, where am I going? How have things been? What should I do next? What things could I change? What do I have in my power to control? And like something fun. What's something fun that I want to do? So I started off the year with doing the Yoga with Adriene 30-day yoga challenge. And I'm on day like 24, 25, and I've done it every day. And Yoga with Adriene's free. It's also a channel on YouTube. I will link that below as well. I have done the 30-day yoga challenge before a couple of times. Not always in January, but she always does it in January. And she's been doing this for like 9 years or something. It's been a long time. And I love it because it's not extreme. It's not an extreme workout challenge. Like, it is challenging for me, and I'm somebody that doesn't work out, so just bear that in mind. It might not be challenging for you, but I have found that my body feels more flexible and more, limber and like ready to do things. And after having 2 kids, your body obviously changes quite a lot. And I've noticed like a marked difference in doing the challenge. And they are short, bite-sized, manageable videos. Like I get up first thing in the morning, go downstairs, put out my yoga mat, and I usually do the yoga in my pajamas before I get ready for work. And it's been a great system for me, and I'm really excited that I've almost made it 30 days. So hopefully next time I see you, I'll be like, victorious, I did it. And then I'm also starting a new membership. I'm going to do a Burn Boot Camp, which is kind of, I guess it's kind of like interval station training. I did one class with the people at my work, and it was wonderful, and I really liked it. So I'm going to try that again. I might be doing them virtually. There's just something about like going to a place to do physical activity in a group setting. I don't know. There's something about it. It's intimidating. That's what it is. And eventually I'll get over it. Like I've had gym memberships before. I've done these things. There's something about community and like getting to know the people there, and I'm sure it'll be great. But right now I'm not pressuring myself. And then what else? That was really, I have been cooking a lot at home. That's always one of my New Year's resolutions. And I wanted to do like 2-part segment. I'm going to like tell you what I'm reading and then tell you my favorite recipe. Such like a little homemaker here. I'm not a homemaker, but I do have, like, I love nesting. So I'm going to tell you those 2 things coming up. But I figured if we're talking about New Year's resolutions, I should probably tell you some knitting goals. So I definitely want to knit through my stash or knit it down a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to go all the way through, but I have yarn that I want to use. It's sitting there looking at me with not judgy eyes, but sad eyes, like choose me, choose me. So I need to do some things with it. And then I have a lot of different patterns that I want to knit, different designers, different yarns I want to try out. So that is also on the agenda. Okay, so 3 things left. First thing, I do have an acquisition. So I want to do the Ghost Horses t-shirt sweater by Caitlin Hunter. And I bought this spin cycle last year for it. It was on like a deep sale. It was like 45% off or something ridiculous. And I was like, I've never used spin cycle, and this is a great opportunity. So I bought that to do, but I didn't have like a contrast color, like a background color. So I bought Wonderland yarns, and it's actually a little bit more of a yellow white in real life. It's coming across kind of more cream white, but it is kind of yellow. It's called White Rabbit, which like such a great name for a white yarn. And it's their Mad Hatter based. It's sport weight. The spin cycle that I'm using is also sport weight. I told you I'm not a huge like scratchy yarn, and this stuff, ooh, it is the furthest from scratchy. I mean, like, this is, my hands are like, oh, let's pet it all day. It is a 100 superwash merino. I've been watching a lot of podcasts lately that have been talking about like the differences between non-superwash and superwash. I have a lot of superwash. If you are a non-superwash person, I might not be that inspiring to you. Maybe one day I will change my mind, but I love superwash for how soft it is, how hard wearing it is. I'm not the nicest to my clothes. Like, I wear them, and I do things in them. like everybody else does. But yes, Mad Hatter, that is my acquisition. I got 3 of them. And then my other acquisition, which I haven't even taken out of the box, and I'm not going to because I don't have scissors for it, but it is this Acre Works Knitting and Crochet Toolkit. And this thing, I mean, it is cool. And I just really wanted it for my purse. So it has a swatch gauge, a needle size gauge. It has stitch markers, a notion pocket, tape measure, a lanyard hole so you can like put stuff in it, mini scissors. I mean, the list goes on. Magnetized notions pockets, and then a darning needle as well. So very cool. It is like this little, let's see if I can get it out of the box carefully. It is tiny, like it's compact, and that's why I thought it would be so great. Look, I'm doing like a little unboxing. Look at how cute that is, everybody. So it is thin. Like that is not that thick. And it has all of those things that I said. And I think these are pretty easy to find. I've seen them on a lot of different yarn store websites. And then this just pops off, and then look at all of the cute little magnetized things. So like they're not just falling out because it's magnetic. So smart. Yes. Woo! I'm very excited about this now that it's out of the box. I wouldn't say this is something that I needed. This was definitely a want. And I mean, it's cool. It was not the like cheapest thing ever. And honestly, I can tell that this is pretty like high quality stuff here. This was not going to be $10, nor should it. This is ingenious, everybody. And it feels sturdy. So yeah, I thought that would be great for my little project bag. Throw that in there, and then I am ready to go. So that was acquisitions. What have I been reading? I just recently finished a book, and it is called My Year of Rest and Relaxation, and it's by Otessa Moshfegh, maybe. It was a very interesting read. I have never read anything that quite was on that topic or content. So it's about like a young New York affluent woman who is an orphan, and she's going through some things, and she decides that she's going to have a year of rest and relaxation, mostly drug-induced. So yeah, if you, there were some triggery kind of things in there. If you know people that have substance abuse issues, if you know that's a hot topic, I would not read this. But it was an interesting book. It was a bestseller a while ago. Definitely look into it. I wouldn't steer people away unless that kind of content is going to be worrisome to you. It was a lot, and I think particularly it felt so because it's the beginning of my year, and it's like I'm thinking about ways to better myself and improve, and this woman is doing something similar, but like very different. So yeah, check it out. I am not somebody that reads books again. This is definitely not one that I would read again, but it is an experience that I'm glad that I had. Like, I learned some things, particularly about what I would not want to do with my life. So, yeah. And then my last segment before I say farewell, adieu, auf Wiedersehen. Recipes. Okay, so I told you I'm trying to eat and cook more at home. I am the predominant cook, chef in the family. I do most of my family's cooking, and I am not like a super refined palate kind of person. I am an adventurous eater. I will eat and try anything once. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. I will try it. I will attempt to cook just about anything. I am a working mom of young children, so I don't always like something that's going to be like super time consuming. Like, I'm not one to be like, I want to make my own pasta from scratch and then make my marinara sauce that's going to like be on the stove for 2 weeks. And I mean, that food is delicious. So maybe one day, I would love to be that person one day, honestly. But that's just not super plausible right now. I mean, it's not super plausible. Let's just like take that off my plate. But what did I make? I made a Thai red curry noodle soup. It was so good. So I'm going to link it below. It was not a difficult thing to make. You grill your chicken, you take the chicken out, then you start making, then you like saute the ginger and the garlic, and I think there's a little bit of onion in there, and you cook it down, and then you add all of the different ingredients to make the broth, and then you let that kind of simmer down, and all those flavors meld and mesh together. It does have noodles in it, so there's little rice noodles in there. So you'll have to have like some like Asian kind of markets in your area. Our regular grocery store in St. Louis, Schnucks, in case anybody was wondering, does carry all of the ingredients for it. It was not difficult to find. And you just let it cook down and then eat it. And I'm so excited to make that one again. I am a food craving person, so my cravings change from time to time, but that is one that I don't think I would get sick of. It is so good. Everybody's so good. Like, go to your grocery store, get the things to make this. So good. And if it's a little chilly where you are, it's like nice and a little spicy, but not too spicy. So good. All right, guys, this is like twice as long. It's over twice as long as the last one. So I'm going to let it lie here, and I hope you are all doing well. Thank you again for finding my video. All right, hopefully I will see you all soon. Bye, guys.